Welcome to Best Kept Secrets Travel, episode 19. My name's Morgan.
And my name's Will, and on today's episode, we're going to be discussing what we believe to be the world's best action camera for travelling. Shh, you're not meant to tell them already.
Intro.
Best friends, and that's for life. Who stay traveling? I'm talking worldwide, 65 countries between the two. Every moment is so unbelievable. Sharing the best kept secrets about the trips and mistakes they made that they can't forget. So tell me if you're ready for a time to remember as they gear up for the next adventure. Yeah. Woo! Best kept secrets travel.
Have you ever wanted an action camera before, or do you currently own an old one and you want to upgrade? Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to discuss in this episode what we think is the world's most premium, best action camera out there at the moment. What we know about it, why we think it's the best, and also who we think their number one competitor is new into the market. So I think a lot of people could probably guess by your slightly obvious intro you did there, Morgan, for us, was we are going to be discussing the range of GoPros out there at the moment. They've always been popular. They've been dominating the market for years, but it doesn't always mean they're the best product.
No, not necessarily.
Not always.
Not.
So, Morgan, which GoPros have you had in your lifetime?
In my lifetime and my previous lifetime, I've had the GoPro Hero 2, the GoPro Hero 4 Black. My next one was the GoPro Fusion, which is a 360 camera. And then when the GoPro Hero 4 died in South America, I then got the GoPro Hero 8 Black. And then the Hero 9 came out, and I really, really wanted the Hero 9. And if I'm continuing what I'm doing with my GoPros, I need to probably wait till the Hero 16 before I get a new one, because I'm just doubling each time.
They do last a very long time, and I think it's quite hard, especially at the price range that they're coming in at, to justify upgrading every single year. I know some people try and do that with their iPhones and things, but it's silly to try and justify that.
There's no point. And for the first, it almost felt like I was when it went from the Hero 2 to the Hero 4, but there was such a big step up. And then it went to the Hero 5, and they stepped up again slightly. But with innovative companies like GoPro, sometimes when they step up and they're doing the first thing, like a new thing, new technology that no one's really used before, it doesn't always work the best. So
no, there's normally bugs.
Yeah, there's lots of bugs. So I always think that wait for technology that I like, and then get the next one that comes out after it, because by that they've honed their skills and honed it in. And the Hero 8, there was quite a few big step-ups, although it was the first time they had mods, which by the Hero 9 they have improved.
Yeah.
So by mods I mean you could stick on... GoPro is notoriously bad for shooting in dark places, and one of the mods was a light.
Yeah, I've seen that one recently about the huge, it looks like a massive LED light that sticks on top. Almost too big.
Almost too big.
Yeah, it looks like it's slightly the size of the camera. So, in terms of my GoPro history, I've only had two so far. I had the GoPro Hero 3 Black. So that was one of the, that was fairly early days. I wasn't one of the OGs. And then I've had an original GoPro Session.
Ooh.
And that was bought very much on a whim, because that was cheap. I think that was £99 or something.
That was GoPro being very innovative and trying something.
Yeah, and I think people gave it a really bad rap for something which I think did have a place in the market. It was cheap enough that you felt like you could be riskier with it. It was small enough that you felt like you could use it for other things, and it wasn't massive.
Tiny. The quality
really small. So if you're watching on YouTube now, we'll pop up the cameras as we speak about them. But that was only a few centimeters by a few centimeters. It was really quite a small, perfect cube. So it was actually quite easy to fit into smaller places. So much lighter. So if you're using the exact same mount, I felt really confident it wasn't going to break. Sometimes with the GoPro, the older ones felt quite heavy.
So I've had it once where I was in Zante, actually.
Yeah.
And I've put my GoPros through a lot, and I use them every time I travel, and every time I do something interesting, I try and take it with me.
Yeah.
And it is quite heavy, and you get lots of wear and tear. And the GoPro actually just fell off the selfie stick
On its own.
Yeah. All I did was I literally gently put it down, put the bottom of it down, and then the top just fell off. It was crazy.
Not what you want.
No, and then recently I had in Albania I had my GoPro Fusion tripod, which was the Max tripod, which is amazing, slightly overpriced but amazing, and that's lasted me 4 or 5 years. But that just snapped, and I didn't even do anything for it to snap. I just suddenly looked at it and I was like, oh, it doesn't shut anymore, and it was broken. And that I used to throw up all the time, play catch with it, and it survived. It's very rugged, but...
So the big difference between our original GoPros, like my Hero 3, was just the lack of waterproofing, debris and dust and all that stuff, whereas the brand new Hero 9 can go down to 33 feet. So that's 10 meters deep without any of that really big sort of acrylic perspex-y plastic housing, which is so grim, or you'd break the hinge on it, and it was so... Yeah, and now it's super slick, even with the housing.
So the Hero 8 was, I believe, the first camera that did that. And, although I may be wrong, and it was actually really scary the first time going into water with it.
You're not ready for it.
You never trust it, no. You think it could be like those phones that say they're sort of waterproof and you put them in and then suddenly they don't work properly. But it does work. It is genuinely waterproof. I'm scared every time I put it in water.
But you just got to commit.
But you got to commit, and it works. And I have one thing I have had is that it's now not so good when you do go deeper, and then have to have the perspex casing, which I did when I was scuba diving, and it did overheat a bit at times.
But so they also offer the other case, which is not a full 360 housing; it's just around the edge of it.
Yeah, so that often has the mounts on top, the shoe mounts on top, because now a lot of the mods or mics need those shoe mounts. So they do that a lot.
I think
more.
the Hero 9 starting's changed the game on all that as well. They're trying to integrate as much as they physically can into the pre-bought camera, so you're not buying those accessories, but you're having to buy all the mods instead now.
And the Hero 8 was the first one where, because they had the LCD screen on the back for quite a few models before, but when having the LCD screen on the back, it made it easier to shoot, but you also lost a lot of camera quality, because they weren't as good settings. And the Hero 8 was the first time where the settings were as high and you still had the LCD mount.
So I know for a fact that you would probably take your GoPro over any other. Like, if you had to take one camera on holiday, I would personally expect that you're going to normally take your GoPro, because you know that it's so versatile. You could use it in so many scenarios. You're confident that it's light, it's small, unless you're going out for specific photography needs where you might take DSLR or your mirrorless. Then something like the GoPro you love taking, because it's so easy to capture in the moment things, snippets of people laughing or doing something silly, and then they turn around and suddenly realise, oh, Morgan's
Morgan's filming again. Yeah, one of the things I do like with the answer is yes, I would take the GoPro. The only time that it wouldn't be my go-to would be if I was doing something which involved being in darkness all the time, or at night, because then it's just not great.
And we're going to get onto one of GoPro's competitors later, which, even though it's a tiny little camera, it's proving a big competitor in the market. It's got a small battery life, but the quality of the footage, the viewing, especially the performance of it in the dark is really good. And even the brand new GoPro 9 Black, it's pretty pricey and it's not doing that well in the dark. The benefit is, waterproof down to 10 meters, the proper housing and everything. So what kind of adventures are you happy to use your GoPro on? Basically anything. Is there anything where you're really not confident?
Darkness. That is it.
You would skydive with it?
Yep.
Swim with it?
Yep. done paragliding.
Basically
with
anything with it, yeah.
Yeah, literally any eat with it. Some of the features that have been reasonably new that they have is now they don't have the case. Instead of having the mount that actually sticks to the selfie stick, they have that as retractable now.
Yeah, they've got the integrated mounting,
which is a really great feature because it means you can just plop it on the side or you can attach it to your mount. And I also like now that they have a sort of quick film thing, which for me is the most ideal thing ever, is instead of turning it on, pressing film, all you have to do is hold the shoot button.
Yeah.
It turns on, starts shooting instantly when it turns on. And then when you press shoot again to stop it, it stops and turns off. But this is ideal for the style of filming that I do, where I'm trying to be in the moment. I don't stop you and go, right, we need to set up this shoot here. I just see, all that looks like it could be funny. Press it, start filming. You do something stupid, and I'm like, filmed you.
Yeah, I'd like the way that, in terms of just a fun travel camera as well, not just for action. You know, I've used GoPros skiing, snowboarding, rock climbing, ice climbing, all the more extreme sports. But it's just a camera to have traveling, get snippets in the airport, the fun moments. It's pretty perfect. And a lot of people now using their phones, and there's a massive argument for it because phone camera quality is up there. But it is also quite nice knowing that all your footage in one place.
Well, and also, you're happy to throw the GoPro around a bit more than your phone.
Yeah, I remember the first time even not that long ago, it was around Christmas, I took my phone in the swimming pool for the first time, and that's such a weird feeling. Filming underwater using your iPhone is just wrong.
It's wrong, just don't.
No, I didn't like that at all. So we're going to discuss the Hero 9 Black, which is the newest one in the GoPro range for their action cameras, which is coming up at a price of £349.44 on Amazon.co.uk. It's pretty pricey. I think that's one of the aspects of why we say that you don't need to keep buying the next one. You might skip a couple in between or a few in between.
But this is where you get that build quality that does last for years.
Yeah.
And for me, that is worth it. I have tried other brands of cameras for sports cameras that have been a bit cheaper, and they've just sort of broken. They've been worse quality, camera quality anyway. They've broken very quickly, and they've not been that great. Whereas with GoPro, you may pay a little premium, but it's going to last for a long time.
I remember my first camcorder.
As long as you don't lose it.
My first action camera, in inverted commas, was some awful tiny little Sony thing when I was way younger. And I tried it skiing once and cycling once. And it didn't have a top mount like the GoPros one. It was all on the side. So it just felt, when you were skiing or cycling, like, it was so big. I mean, I don't know, between 8 to 10 years old. You just have what felt like a metal brick on the side of your head, just weighing you down. The video quality was awful. You always forgot to turn it on. When you press the button, it didn't always start filming. Back then, the memory sticks were non-existently small.
Yeah.
And it was just the jumping quality, not just with GoPros, but other makes out there now. Even the new Sony's so much better. But I think it's just GoPro put their stamp out there pretty quickly, which is why they've grown so fast. You know, all the Red Bull athletes now are using GoPro, and the GoPro athletes as well. There's so many of them. I know, for example, like Mark Healy, surf instructor, he's sponsored by GoPro, and he does it for deep water spearfishing and free diving as well as his surfing, and he just swears by them at just how well it's lasted him, even in big crashes.
Yeah, what made GoPro at the start so good was the fact that they didn't build it because they were coming out to, right, we want to make a lot of money, so we're going to make this camera. They made this camera for them.
Yeah.
They looked at this and like, right, I want to film. It was surfing. I want to film myself surfing.
Yeah.
What is the best way I can do that? And they just experimented with that, and they kept doing that until they built their first product. And when you're one of those brands who build up from that, and you have that true love for what the camera's used for, not just seeing it as a business thing, you know it's going to be a good product. And they have nailed that. And they have had missteps.
Yeah, they have along the way. I think they came out with that horrendous drone.
Yeah, the drone...
That was a flop.
The idea of it, I liked, but they needed to... It was a bit... They're an innovative company, so I know why they went that direction.
Yeah,
but it's just completely
the concept
different.
Sounded cool. The actual output of the product was the size of a Mavic, the weight of a real-life helicopter. It just didn't work.
Oh, and the other things that... But the one thing that did work from that was their stabilization.
Oh, their stabilization's insane.
And that came from the drone.
And there's a big knock-on since then. But we're going to look at the GoPro Hero 9 Black to start with.
Yeah.
So £349.44. Fairly expensive.
Yeah.
We are sticking Amazon links below in case you want to see them, and it would help us out. You've got the GoPro Hero 9 Black, which is the newest one to the market for the action camera range
At this moment.
So to start off with, they got 20 megapixel still photo, which is pretty good. Fairly small
That's not
sensor.
bad.
And then we've got the video quality. We're looking at 4K at 60 frames per second. That's a big jump compared
That's big.
to...
I mean,
can't even
it's
remember.
almost too big for the majority of things you want to do.
I know. I think when I had a GoPro, which one was it? I can't even remember if the Hero 3 had 4K in it at all.
Doubt it. No.
I think it went up to 2440 or something.
Yeah.
And then 5K at 30 frames a second. Not that you need it,
Awesome, though.
but pretty cool. We already mentioned 10 meters underwater without any external housing, which in its own right is incredible. By not putting the external housing on for general filming outside of water as well, then you get the benefit of better microphone. But I know that now you can add on some microphones because you've got the little mic.
So which mic would you tend to use?
If I was going to go for a mic for the GoPro, I'd probably look at a similar one that I've got for Sony ZV-1, which we use for our vlogs and actually filming this episode as well. I can stick that in the description below. We use one of the mini Rodes for that one.
Yeah, I'd agree, the mini Rodes. So there is a mic mod for the GoPro, but a lot of the reviews say that the GoPro speakers themselves are actually better than the microphone mod.
And if you're going for a microphone and you're thinking, I actually do want an external one, go for one made by a company who specialise in it. Rode are the company in my mind for microphones, so just get one from them. So we've got the camera, we've got the videos, we've got the depth. The brand new Hyper Smooth stabilization is insane.
So this is stabilization in the camera.
Yeah,
this is unbelievable. This one of my biggest things I had when filming with Hero 2 and 4 was that I'd be doing things like parkour. I even did cycling, skiing, and all you get is, when you're going really fast, is the footage is just bouncing up and down. And you can't stop that. Like when you run, you're bouncing up and down.
Yeah.
Now with this hyper smooth stabilization, it's gone. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's super smooth, and I remember even our original ones, the Hero 2, Hero 3, and Hero 4, even with the Session when that was brand new, so jittery. Nothing like the cameras you have nowadays. We've got the built-in mounting, just like you have in the Hero 8. Data overlays, 1080p live streaming that's fairly game-changing. So you could use that at your PC. You could do live streams to anyone. I know that you can link your GoPro to your phone as well to take photos remotely instead of having to have another device. Voice control, that's pretty cool. You can get your GoPro to turn on and off.
Fun gimmick.
Yeah, it's slightly pointless in my eyes. Schedule capture, super photo, HDR, and it's shooting in RAW as well. I think that's one of the biggest step ups we've seen from GoPro is their venture into RAW.
Yeah.
I don't know how much it really benefits the community, but just hope that you've got a massive SD card or micro SD card with you for the filming. As a comparison, we're looking at the Hero 9 Black at the moment, which is the newest one, but we've also got the Hero 8 Black at £260.89. Obviously, link is in the description below on our YouTube channel. And is it worth an extra £90 on top of it?
Yes, because the big thing that you haven't mentioned is that now there is a
Front-facing
LCD screen, which...
You think that's game-changing? Enough to justify £90?
Okay, I didn't cry, but when I saw that...
Hypothetically cried.
My heart didn't sink because during the time where I bought it, and I bought the Hero 8 9 months before the Hero 9 came out. We were during COVID, but I filmed some really good stuff. Yeah. And so I knew that I needed to have the GoPro. But when I saw that came out, I was literally like, this is a physical game changer. The amount of times that when filming myself or talking to the camera, I have just got the angle wrong on the stick looking back at me, or I've been moving around and not looked at the right thing when I'm trying to.
And you review it.
And you review it after and you realise for me and for what I film,
I remember when the LCD was built in for the first time, because the original GoPros we had zero LCD screen.
Yeah.
It was point, shoot, hope it records, hope it survives, get home and review it. Oh no, it's rubbish footage. I wish I reshot it.
The Hero 8 was the first time I had an LCD screen. I didn't for the Hero 4 Black, because the Hero 4 Silver had one.
But even sometimes with that, you're just like, oh, hopefully we captured it. Or we even said it on some of our channels, hope I got it. You don't really know half the time. And, it is £90 different, but if you can't afford that £90 difference, then I do highly recommend the Hero 8 as well. It is unbelievable camera. Then on the end, it's not an action camera, but you've got a very big high price point is the GoPro Max, which is their 360-degree camera.
Their Fusion was a bit of a flop because they hyped it up and it
had so many problems.
So many bugs.
Weighed.
The Max...
a ton.
So, hence why it's now not the Fusion 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. It's the Max. They have changed a bit, rejigged a little, and it's better.
Yeah,
it's better than the Fusion, but
I don't know if it's £474 worth.
No,
but if you really want to buy it, the link is in the description below.
That is cheaper than the Fusion was. I can't remember how much the Fusion was, but I think it was about 700.
Agony.
600,
really?
700, yeah.
No,
that one didn't hold its value.
No, that was, and I remember just because it was the first time they pushed it out. Even just trying to process it on your PC.
So I couldn't process the videos and edit them because it would take hours. So I changed, thanks Apple Max, I changed to just using it, which was still really cool, for 360 photos.
That was it, just for the photos. I remember we used it in Barcelona, but...
Yeah, I used it in Chernobyl as well.
It was huge, and it did weigh a lot.
And yeah, it was heavy, 2 separate SD cards, the battery was reasonable, it wasn't particularly user-friendly either, compared to the other GoPros.
So out of all of your GoPros,
Hero 8.
I was about to say, which is your biggest regret? So I assume it's your Fusion.
Fusion, yep.
Because... you could easily say, the Hero 2 was rubbish, but at the same time, I think that's the one which got you into a lot of the photography you were ever into.
I wouldn't say it was rubbish.
At the time, it was insane.
Exactly. I didn't have any issues with it at the time.
And at any stage of your GoPro...
You're about to say career.
We're going to say career. Your GoPro career. Has there been a point where you thought, actually, I should have bought that camera because that one's come out and I think it's a lot better?
As in a different brand?
Yeah, of action camera.
No.
You got the little DJI gimbal cameras now, which are quite cool. Tiny little sensors as well, though.
No, as of yet, I have not seen a competitor that I like the look, the function, and the use of enough to come anywhere near where GoPro is. They must have... majority of the market still, even with the amount of knockoffs that there are out there. And I just don't see there being a better product now, and I don't see there being a better product in the near future. There are companies coming up, but in the near future, I don't think anyone can touch GoPro.
If I was going to think about the biggest competitor, I would say there really is in the market, and they've come fairly recently due to Amir Zachary on Instagram, who I've spotted them through, is the Insta 360 Go 2. It is tiny. So the GoPro Hero 9 Black weighs 158 grams on its own. The Insta 360 Go 2, out of its portable charging case, which in its own right is pretty cool.
That is cool. That is very useful.
26 grams.
Wow.
It's tiny. It's magnetic. It comes with a necklace pendant which goes under your shirt. You just click it on, magnets, so it gives you an instant POV view. Its running time, battery life is 30 minutes, and once it's in its case, just treat it like an AirPod. I think it takes about an hour and a half to charge up fully again. But just in terms of travel and movement around, it's quite a cool concept.
What weight was the Session compared to?
I think the Session comes in around 100 grams. It's surprising how much the Session weighs, because you need to think the majority, everything rammed into that has to have some use in some way. There's no just
so a lot of
space.
The GoPro weight is probably coming from the stronger battery
and the batteries and everything. Whereas the Insta 360 Go 2 doesn't film in 4K at all. I believe it films in 1080 and 1440, but it has a way wider view angle. You see so much more in it. The colors look better. It shoots way better in the dark. But, it does come in at £294, and I think just due to its entry in the market, it's going to be super interesting to see how long that survives before they upgrade to the next model, and to see in terms of being rugged.
It is the next model.
I mean, the next one in the series. Do you think we're only at the Insta360 Go 2, whereas we're at the GoPro Hero 9? That's what I'm saying is, this, in my head, this is the Go 2 is the Hero 2 and the lifespan of it. But the traction that it's gaining is enormous. The fact it comes in its own little charging case, it's using magnets, completely different concept to the GoPro, but it's waterproof, it's pretty rugged. Waterproof down 4 meters on its own, which for a tiny little thing, trying to minimize its use of space and its weight, I think super impressive. I'm yet to ever see one and try one in person, which if we do in the future, then I'll definitely give a push. But massive shout out to, they're called Authentic on YouTube. They've got a massive following, but they do an insanely good review between the Hero 9 Black and the Insta 360 Go 2, where they show a side by side and just show the sheer difference, the slight benefits of the Hero 9, but also the massive benefits and winning attributes of the Insta 360 Go 2. But it's such a tight race, and to me already I feel like, the GoPro may have some negatives, it has some benefits, but my gut feeling is telling me that GoPro would last so much longer. It seems like it's built to last.
Yeah, I agree. The GoPros last so long, and I think one thing we haven't actually mentioned that is something you've got to count, but it's free, is the stuff that you get in the background for the GoPro. The apps, the editing softwares are unbelievable. How they started being very basic. Now they have full-on editors.
Yeah.
And the main thing I do with my GoPro when I travel is I constantly film video. I always film video because one of the best things you can do with the GoPro is you can go on the app and you can actually get, it's not even a screenshot, it's a photo.
Yeah.
A freeze frame of that frame in the video, which means when you're traveling and trying to shoot stuff in the moment, you are getting that perfect moment because it's not based off you clicking the button. You just need to make sure you're aiming it in the right direction.
But you don't really like the nice voice control gimmick, Morgan.
But with all the LCDs now, it's much easier to make sure that you are aiming in the right direction. And I use this every single time. And it's these things that are the additions that any new company coming into the market is going to struggle to catch up because they just don't have yet.
I think overall, GoPro is still king. it's hard to put anyone near them. I just think it's super interesting seeing what's coming in the market. You know, there are some really low cost claims of 4K cameras, but I don't think there's anyone to really pull out all the stops that these guys have at the moment.
No, there's no one really competing because, as you said, GoPro and 9 and Insta 360 are at 2, so there's no one quite close yet.
No.
But there may be some companies in the future that could be making a difference.
So, coming to the end of our episode, we would love it if you dropped a comment below listing all of the GoPros that you have ever owned, or any of the other action cameras that you've owned, and your opinion of them. Give them a rating out of 10, and we'll be super interested to see all of your guys' opinion. Have any of you got the Insta360 Go 2, or have you got the Hero 9 Black? What's your pros and cons? Have you found that you absolutely love it and you'd never change it for anything? Or what do you think that they could really improve on? You could also send a message at the BKS Traveller Instagram, or on our TikTok, or any of our podcast platforms. You could download the episodes and help plant a tree.
At Best Kept Secrets Travel. And touch wood, I haven't lost a GoPro yet, but if you have any stories of losing your action cameras, because lots of people do and it's very easy to, comment below or message us on Instagram and tell us your stories, and we'll talk about them in a future episode on cameras. Right, I think it's time to wrap this episode. Roll the outro.
Yeah, let's make it happen. I hope that you can handle going on adventures, best kept secret travels. Yeah, all over the globe, having fun, you know the deal. Amazing secret locations, hang out with Morgan and Will. Educate and entertain, haggle in the market, sharing their experiences. Time to get it started. Let's go.